Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Pullze Check podcast, man. Guys, today we have, in my opinion, probably my favorite podcast probably today. This one's going to be a very special one, man. Today's will be strictly competitive Warzone related, or Warzone highest competition possible, right? That's what today's podcast will be about. So we just announced our Pullze Check League / Pullze Check Ladder. Technically, we aren't allowed to call it a league, so it's called the PCL, Pullze Check Ladder.
Ooh.
But, you know, PCL. But for those of y'all, we'll call it a league. You know what I'm saying? But we won't call it a league if anybody asks. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, we have a lot of things planned, man. I got a lot of stuff to kind of discuss. But before we begin, you know, let me introduce everybody, man. Guys, this is my man's Enigma. For those of y'all that don't know him, Enigma, go ahead, introduce yourself, man. I think you've been on the podcast a couple times before. So talk to me, man.
Yeah, I've been on 2 or 3 times now. I'm an analyst for I've done the World Series, done the Esports World Cup, the unfortunate duo of Dandro. So yeah, it's going all right. I'm going to apologize ahead of time. I've come back from Madrid with like the worst like land flu, so I'm going to be hitting the cough button a lot. But if I mistime it, then that's my bad. But yeah, coming in here, hoping to represent a little bit of EMEA and put on some love for the whole thing that we got going on here.
Love that, man. Dandro, so you said Dandro's your duo, man. Dandro, you've been on the podcast as well a couple times. Introduce yourself, man.
Couple times, been around the block. Yeah, definitely a longtime caster here in Warzone, the godlike duo of Enigma that is here. Really just excited because I got my start really kind of with like the tier 2 and the up and coming Warzone scene. So when Hector told me he was putting this together, we were definitely excited. So here, ready to lock it on in. Also, Enigma should give himself some more credit. He's also a caster, not just an analyst in the Warzone space. We are more than just analysts,
True.
by the way. I have to remind him of that every once in a while. But no, I'm super pumped for here to be today.
Love that, man. Guys, like, you know, this is kind of like, as you guys see, you know, I feel like we're all locked the fuck in, right? Like, Ebatez, man, you and I have been talking about this for a long time, the league and what it could potentially mean, man. I would introduce Ebatez, but he's, you know, we all know Ebatez, right? But sure. Ebatez, man, I do want to hear from you, man. You know, this has been in the works for, I would say, a year plus. Trying to get this league together, sorted. So many obstacles to kind of get through, man. Just talk to me, man. Like, what is your opinion on it so far, and you know, what do you expect from it?
I think there's a lot of us that really do believe that there is a huge opportunity for a competitive Warzone. I think that, you know, we have tournaments yearly. We were very fortunate to have EWC last year, and we have World Series of Warzone every year, but I think that there just could be more and a lot more structure. So we could not only give like competitors, you know, the chance to compete, but also just the content creators to kind of make content around it. You know, watch parties. We could grow the scene, grow the game, not just in a casual base. You know, content is great. You know, like loadout videos are great, but we could also build this in a competitive side. So I know all of us here really do believe in this scene. And obviously, Hector, you've taken the initiative here to kind of start up the Pullze Check League or the ladder. And, you know, we can kind of give not just the best of the best the opportunity to kind of put their name out there even more, but also people that have never had the chance to compete, an opportunity to play against the best. And also, you know, you never know, we could see some people that we've never even heard of kind of come through this and make a name for themselves. So it's super exciting, and I'm very excited to kind of get season 0 started and see where it goes.
Yeah, I mean, speaking on that, I mean, JD, if you can get our announcement video ready to play, I want to play that in the right now after this. But I want to touch on one thing that you said, because I want to make sure that everybody knows this. You know, the league is only as good as its best players, right? Like, if it doesn't have the actual best players in the world, well, then it doesn't mean as much, right? So you're gonna see that we have gotten the best players to play in this, and there's open quals, so anybody who wanted to play could play. Yes, with an asterisk that, you had to be fast as hell. We'll get into that a little bit, boys. Yeah. I'll give you guys crazy numbers, super but you had to be really fast to sign up and to play in this. So, yeah, guys, I mean, without further ado, man, JD, if you want to play the graphic, and then you can fix my camera after. There's like a little, there it is. Ladies and gentlemen, the Pullze Check Ladder is finally here. For the longest time, people have been wondering, how does one get to play against the best Warzone players in the world? And to be honest, there's never really been a way. Till now. Pullze Check Ladder will be kicking things off with a Season 0. Season 0 will be an experimental season to lay the foundations for future seasons to come. Now, how is this going to work? Starting the week of February 17th, there will be 3 separate individual qualifiers. From here, the top 7 teams from each qualifier will advance to group stages. 21 teams will then be divided into 3 separate groups, A, B, and C. These 3 groups will then play each other over the course of the next 3 weeks with 2 matches a week. From here, they will be given an individual rating and, more importantly, a team total rating. The top 14 teams from group stages will then advance to the finals. From here, they'll battle it out for a prize pool of $5,000. We'll have a lot more info in the coming weeks, but for now, get your trios ready because this is just the beginning.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Come on, baby.
Come on, man. Come on. All right, man. All right.
Good.
Here we go, man. So that is the announcement, man. And you know, I was saying this before the podcast started. There was nights where I literally couldn't sleep because I was wondering, you know, will this fill? Will people want to play? You know, is it too early to do it? And man, did the community show out, boys. There was originally only going to be 12 spots available for open to anybody, right? Which I'll get into that in a little bit, right? But we ended up extending that to 24, 23, I think 23, which I'll explain again right now. And dude, those 23 spots filled up in a minute and 20 seconds. Exactly
Insane.
a minute and 22 seconds.
Insane.
A minute,
Oh my God.
a minute and 22 seconds, 23 spots filled up. Then 3 minutes and 4 seconds, I believe, 72 teams signed up, and I had to cut it off. So in 3 minutes and 4 seconds, 72 teams signed up. I'm be honest, man, I never want to hear the excuse that people don't want to play, because if there's anything that I think this showed is people want to play. They just need to be given the opportunity, right? And which I preached this for so long, like there should and there needs to be open quals in as many tournaments as possible, right? And so obviously we're working hard behind the scenes to hopefully make that happen one day for all the other big ones, right? But boys, so far, give me your thoughts. Enigma, you can go first, man, on just seeing the league announcement first. What's your general thoughts, man?
I think that we all knew that there was a whole bunch of our community waiting to play, right? We were kind of waiting for an opportunity to show out. There's a lot of conversation all the time. You know, I tweeted this, like a lot of people turning around saying, oh, if they were given a chance, if they had the opportunity, if they were given an invite, well, now's your fucking chance. Like, come and do it. Come and show us exactly what you've got. And it was one of those moments where it was kind of like a lot of people, you know, sometimes we come out and say stuff like that and we're like, you know, the response is a bit underwhelming. 3 minutes is insane. Like we could have stacked up so much here if we'd have known that this would have been the response. And to see that kind of response is incredibly heartwarming. It is for me. I know it is going to be for Dandro and Ebatez as well. So I can't imagine what it feels like for you and the team in there who've been putting in, like you said, sleepless nights. Like this is exactly what we want to see. There's so much coming this year, I feel, and hopefully building into future years. And I'm really hoping that this is exactly what we wanted to really kick things off for 2025.
Yeah, man. Oh, dude. Seeing it actually happen is still surreal to me. Mr. Dandro, talk to me, man. How you feeling, bro?
Dude, I'm most excited about this for a couple different reasons. One, I've been saying that we've needed sort of like a quote unquote tier 2 sort of scene in Warzone that is basically what is that launch pad to help people get into these big events or just be able to make a name for themselves to either get picked up by people who get invites to, you know, a lot of these, you know, influencer events that we have going on there. And I think this is a fantastic way to find a lot of those peoples. Selfishly, as a caster, I love it because, you know, for events like World Series of Warzone, it's like we basically only have like the opens and then into like, you know, for example, last year into like those group stages and stuff. It's like actually like a very short window when it comes to us trying to like build a story for particular players. And so now it's like we can be able to watch these people develop and talk, you know, more in depth about, oh, they found early success with these people, but then they moved over in this team. And like just being able to like have that and be able to hype it on up is like super cool. And to watch how people are going to progress, you know, time and time again and over and be able to go up against some of the best in the game that we have and to kind of be able to show out. Like it's just like super exciting for me. It's just like an absolute competitor of you know, Warzone and Warzone esports in general. And I think it's gonna be like super dope. I want to see like who's the next up. That's always what I'm like curious. Who's next up, man? And I think this is like the perfect space to find that.
Love that, man. Ebatez, man. I know you kind of said a little bit, but don't want to be repetitive, but just like when you saw the announcement, what was your initial thoughts?
I think, I mean, I'm obviously super excited. I think that something that really sticks out to me is that we're giving people, you know, adequate time to kind of prepare. I think a lot of times like tournaments are announced last minute or like people have work and stuff like that. So giving people time to prepare and stuff really shows that interest in the event. So that's exciting because I know a lot of times too, like we'll throw scrims and like they don't fill, but they're super last minute, or maybe we just didn't give people adequate time, or it wasn't just hyped up enough or whatever. So this is super exciting because we gave people a heads up. You had a great announcement. There's hype, there's support there, and people, you know, are making changes in their work schedule or whatever in their life to be a part of it. I think that's awesome, and really appreciate everybody that signed up that is making time to kind of be involved. So that's super exciting.
Yeah, dude. I mean, look, man. Go ahead.
I just think Ebatez makes a great point there in the sense of like, and I mean, it comes up there in chat, you know, World Series was on a week notice, and don't worry, that wasn't just for you guys either. That was for us as well. Like, that was like
absolute shit show.
You know, pretty. Oh, well, I don't want to go that far because I like to get hired, but it's okay. It's like, yeah, you said it. So it's
absolute
just
shit show.
Personal opinion from Ethan Bates there.
There's a thing beyond that as well, which was like a lot of people are turning around and be like, I want to compete, but once that window has gone, there's fucking nothing to play for, right? We got absolutely nothing to do for the rest of the year. So many people want to spend time scrimming. You know, you guys, you know, you were ex-pro here, you know, Hector, Ebatez, you know, me and Dan, we're ex-average, but it's a case of you want to grind, get better, practice. How do you do that? How do you find other players? You know, I come from the Call of Duty space and the, you know, the multiplayer space, and there they've got an endless showing all year. If this year wasn't your year, fine, you go and practice all year for what's coming next and next year maybe, and you find teammates, etc., and grow as a player. They've got an opportunity to do that now. And again, this is just the start. Obviously, you know, there's limitations in terms of how many people can get involved, but this should now let us develop those talents and create that actual tier 2 scene that Dandro mentioned. It's incredible. I'm really looking forward to it.
I mean, dude, so without further ado, man, let's kind of get into the meat and potatoes of the league and or ladder. Sorry, don't. I know somebody's watching; they're gonna get mad at me. So let me just say this now. I'll say it now, guys. And if there's anything you take away from this, please just hear me out here. It's, guys, this is season 0. This is not going to be perfect. I will make mistakes. I am doing this like obviously not by myself, but individually. This is not backed by Activision, huge company, anything like that. This is just us putting this on for the community, right? So the only way to learn is by doing, and that is what we're doing. That's why we're doing this, right? So it's not going to be perfect. There's going to be mistakes, but the goal is that by season 3, we have this down to a T, right? We have, you know, the SR system, ELO system down to a T, and everything flows really well. So that's kind of what I want everybody to kind of understand, and just know that, yo, this is the way we're doing it now. Is this the way it's going to always be? No. Like, you know, we're just going to use this as an example, as a stepping stone. You know, everything started somewhere, right? So this is our beginning. So yeah. So let's kind of get into it, man. Let's get into the format and stuff. First and foremost, I want to go over the general info of what this tournament is going to entail, right? So the finals. Let's skip all the way to finals real quick. Will be a resurgence. Let me say resurgence kill point tournament. Right, but this will be drum roll. You know, is rotating map league. So what that means is a rotating. Oh shit! Did I just close? What did I just close? I just closed something. But I don't know what I closed. Rotating map league will be, for example, first 2 games will be on Air 99. Games 3 and 4 will be on Rebirth. Games 5 and 6 will be on Air 99. Games 7 and 8 will be on Rebirth. So we will be going back and forth between maps to bring hype and to make sure that people don't get bored of watching the same map over and over again. Because I know people are probably sick and tired of watching just Area 99 for the last 3-4 months, right? I even said people are probably sick and tired of watching Urzikstan in general, right? So we're gonna have a map rotation to our league. When it comes to kill point, this is the way things are gonna go down, and we will make adjustments if people don't like this, but it will be every 2 maps, or every 2 games will be switching maps, right? The first team that hits match point will then, obviously, we want to give you guys some sort of an advantage to that. And let's say Dongi's team hits match point first. They will then choose, regardless of what map was up next, they will choose what map is next in the rotation.
Ooh.
So, for example, if they just finished a Rebirth game, they hit match point, but next game was supposed to be Air 99. If Dongi feels like their team it plays better on Rebirth, they have the choice of choosing, yo, this next map, we want it Rebirth. And then from there, on match point, it'll just alternate Rebirth, Air 9, and Rebirth, Air 9, and alternate back and forth. So that is something new that we're introducing to our league ladder. And that's just the gist of it. But when it comes to group stages and even qualifiers, it will not be kill point. It will be best of 8 matches. Kill point will be strictly set for finals. And I think that makes the players not have to be committed for a potential 8-hour, 6-hour tournament. It's more, 3 hours of group stages twice a week, and you get in, work your ass off, get out, So let's go over a couple things. This will be North America host. Obviously, the goal will always be to try to find the best host in North America, which will be East Coast, hopefully. Again, we will try to. I'm sorry, Enigma. I'm sorry. I know you want.
So good. Just a dagger came out of nowhere there. I wasn't expecting it. Straight to the soul. Like, God,
that Arthur Fist meme right there. He's just watching it and shaking.
So, obviously, that host will be adjusted if the servers end up going to shit. We know how servers are sometimes. I want to make sure to add this. And guys, if you are a competitor, listen up, please. Each team is allowed 1 substitute player. All right. Only through one part of their group stages. Only through one match. They're allowed 1 substitute, and that substitute cannot be in the league, and they cannot substitute for anybody else during the league. Does that make sense? So you use your sub. That's it. You use that sub, and that person cannot play as a sub for anybody else, and they cannot be in the league at the time, right? Then another big one, and again, please let me know, because don't take a spot from anybody. You must stream on your main Twitch account, wherever it is that you normally stream from. Twitch, most people stream on Twitch or Kick. You must stream with a face cam, all right? In group stages and in finals. In quals, it's all right. I don't really care. Group stages and finals, you will have to play on a face cam, and anybody is subject to a setup camera. Be ready, because if I think there's even a small chance that you're hacking, I'm going to put you on a setup camera, not just a monitor cam. I want to see all your monitors. I want to see everything, and I want to see you playing. And I don't care. I don't care. I want to see everybody have a monitor or a setup cam. All right. That's a general info. Yeah, go ahead.
About that, are you also going to do something similar with people's Activision accounts as well, where you'll grab everybody's @V and that, like, you have to be playing on this Activision account, barring some crazy, I guess, other thing that happens that you're able to figure out that it's okay? Because I think we've had that in the past a couple times too, where people are playing on like a different account very randomly.
Well, I personally don't care about the actual counts, and the only reason why I say that is because there's so many people getting shadow banned. Like, to enforce that,
we're
would
playing
be kind of
customs,
insane.
though.
Customs are fine, yeah.
What
Customs
would be
are fine.
so? Excuse my
I think
ignorance.
the reason,
Yeah, what's the reasoning behind that?
Basically, if you're like, let's say I knock Biffle, right? And he's playing on your account. I'm like, wait, Repullze, what team is that? You know what I mean? It could kind of cause some confusion. So sometimes, I mean, I feel like it's good to know who you're knocking without having to be like, yo, what account are you on? So it just kind of like plays out a little bit better. Obviously, it's not like the biggest deal, but if I knock Soka, I want to know I knock Soka instead of like, yo, wait, what team is that? And oh, shoot, it's Shifty. Wait, that's their teammate? Like, I guess it's just like a little...
If somebody does midweek, if they do get banned, but they're still trying to play and they're on a different account, and you don't know that, then it's like, okay, that's usually that's like a flag of like, why are you playing on a different account? And then it comes out, oh, you actually, because your main account got banned because you're cheating.
Okay, so honestly, obviously those are very rare occurrences. I never even thought of that. I personally don't. I don't think that I'm going to enforce. Yeah, I think that's something we could take back to the team and we'll discuss. But I'm gonna keep it $150. I don't think you can hide if your account gets banned. Like, I mean, maybe some people can, but for the most part, we've known if somebody's account gets banned. So I'll keep that in mind and I'll bring it to the team. Boys, general thoughts on the format before we move on to like everything else. What are y'all's thoughts on it, man? What do y'all think about, best of 8 games for quals and best of 8 games for group stages, kill point, the rotating maps? Let's kind of discuss here.
I think the rotating maps is what has me the most excited, because obviously like you know, I've done some work in Apex and stuff there. And one thing that we see, and you even see this at the pro level too, like there are teams who are really good at one map and subpar at the other. And so they kind of really rely on like leaning into that one map that they're really solid at to be able to get a lot of their points. And I think that's something that Warzone we haven't seen because we've only ever been on, you know, one singular map that's there. And we know that Area 99 plays different than Rebirth Island. And there's going to be some people who are better at one over the other. And I think it just brings like another layer of sort of like meta game strategy of understanding what map you're playing on, what you want to go. And then even that whole kill point thing of like the first team to cross it then gets to choose. I just think that's something really cool that we haven't really seen in Battle Royale esports before, that adds another fun element. Yet again, I'm always thinking selfishly, like, you know, from like a broadcast perspective, like that's super cool. It's like another talking point to be like, here's this team, they're picking this map. Why are they picking it? Because they've seen a lot of success on it. Look at these numbers. Like all of the things that just tie into it really beautifully is really cool. So that has me excited just to watch, you know, people fry out on, you know, to see everybody that is playing here together in one particular map, like who's better at one map than the other, and then watch that progression, you know, over a season.
Yeah. Okay, cool, man. Enigma, talk to me, man.
I think that I think that this is an evolution of the format that we got at the Esports World Cup, and a one that I'm very glad about in many ways, because EWC kind of had like they had the ABC, you kind of merged halfway kind of thing and chopped out half the lobby, put in the other half of the lobby. But one of the things is that it was like, here we've got 3 weeks, 3 groups, 3 matches a week. And basically what you're going to end up with situations, I think, if you're coming into a certain team, I don't know, let's say, you know, I don't know, Gabe, for example, very analytical player in the sense that like he's very good at, you know, you watch the guy stream, he'll have his setup next to him so he can watch back what he just did and learn as he goes. The guy's absolutely nuts. Yes, I'm not glazing an EU player for once. But the thing is, what I can see people like that team doing and a couple of these other teams doing is going, well, when we played Group B, this is where certain people landed, and this was where we could take over the map. But when we played Group C, we need a totally different strategy. And thinking about it from an analytical point of view, like that for me is very exciting. How do those teams stack up against each other? It's not going to be just a case of, oh, we get to play them just like on one day and find out exactly how that plays in a series of almost what felt a little bit like people still figuring out how to play against that group. Now they're going to have the opportunity to learn and grow. So looking forward to that.
Love that. Okay, Mr. Ebatez, man, talk to me.
Yeah, I'm super excited for the opens. I feel like every year I love watching new teams and just kind of those lobbies that we don't really like. We kind of like count out a little bit because there's always teams that come through. I mean, even watching the World Series of Warzone qualifiers last year, we got to watch a lot of like the expansion regions, and even like the storyline of like Dusamir's team and like all the guys in Latam South we got to watch. There's just so many cool like stories and stuff. So I'm super excited for that. Just excited to watch the open quals and see how teams kind of size up when they get into that next lobby.
Yeah, I mean, dude, like this whole idea of rotating maps, I think we've all seen Apex and we've seen the way they've done things, and I think, you know, having that that advantage of being able to choose what map you get to play, like that's I think that's a pretty big advantage. Again, like I didn't even think about it from that perspective. Enigma, you kind of brought it or made me think about it. Like you're gonna be fighting in regular tournaments, right? You're fighting one team off rip almost every single time. You're fighting the same 2 to 3 teams every single time because they land around you, right? When it comes to this and you're rotating maps, like one map, you can have a completely different set of 3 to 4 teams that you're fighting off rip, right? Like there's so many different things that can happen here and so many different storylines that can be made, which again, I'm super excited. I'm super excited to get it popping. So yeah, JD, yeah, go on.
One more thing, I'm stoked for this is that I know, like, normally we just get, like, these big tournaments announced, EWC, World Series of Warzone, and we don't really get a lot of, like, rosters, a fair opportunity to really test out their trio, because a lot of it is, like, kind of, like, invite tournaments only. It's not the best of the best. We don't have, like, super sweaty lobbies, and trios can't really test out how it would work. So I know we're going to see a lot of new trios coming in and kind of testing it out. We'll see if some work. We'll see if some don't, and I'm sure we'll see a lot of roster changes between Season 0 and Season 1 as well. So I'm also excited for that. You know, people can kind of see how teams play, how they work as teammates, and then if they don't like it, they can always change up. No big deal. It's not like the end of the world. It's not like, oh, wow, we just lost $1 million tournament. It's like, no, we just lost Season 0. There's next season. Let's regroup. Either watch VODs or change a roster or whatever. So yeah, that's about to be exciting. I'm excited for that.
Yeah, speaking of, like, just know the whole point of this, right, is rosters are locked, right? You're allowed one sub, but only for one day out of your group stages, right? So you have 6 days total that you're playing. over the course of 3 weeks. So 2 games a week. So if you have a sub, they can only play one of those, right? The whole point of this is to stay locked in with your roster. That because remember, this is the cool part, which I like. You're going to be given a team SR or team ELO rating. And then you're also going to be given an individual SR, individual ELO rating. And then we're going to have a huge leaderboard going over the best teams. I mean, JD, do you want to tease it? It's up to you. If you don't want to tease it, we won't tease the team win. That's going to be up to you. But, you know, I'll shout out COD Immunity, man. We're working with them. They're working on getting a live leaderboard integrated into their app. That's going to have all the stats of the tournament, how they placed, where they sit. Like, the goal is to make this as legit as possible and make this as dope as possible. So you know,
that's something I've always liked is that your tournaments, especially, we've always pushed the boundary as far as quality, and you always push like you got to have the best of the best. So I'm super excited. Like you said, for those that don't know, COD Community did World Series of Warzone like a leaderboard, and it was very very good, very very clean. It marks like the leaderboard and like top fraggers and stuff like that. So super excited to see how that comes along too.
Yeah, community always do an incredible job. I think I spent in preparation for the World Series last year, I must have spent about 4 straight days on that guy's website. Like they are very good at what they do, which is wonderful. Also, shout out Goji's Warzone stats, of course, as well. That's always a brilliant one. But yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to seeing what is come up with there. But I think without doing too much glazing of Vector here, because you know we know he's the guy. But let's go back to giving him imposter syndrome and all that stuff. But I think that one of the things is. Like coming into this and some of the conversations and hearing about what is thought of for now in order to get it running, but then also what is thought of in the future. Oh, that bit is very, very exciting. Like some of the stuff that could come along the line, some of the stuff that's already been talked about. I can't wait to see where this all goes.
Yeah, I mean, dude, the goal is this is just a stepping stone, right? Like I would hope that my goal for now, it's on Resurgence. Right, like that. It's season 0. We're testing it out. My brain, I was like, it's very easy to find. What was it? 43 teams, I think that is right. 42 teams, as opposed to finding. If this was on Big Map, this would be 160 teams, right? Yeah. It would have been a lot harder to do that than it is to do what we're doing here. Actually, it would be more than that because 14, 42. So it'd be like, bro, I'd be like 360 teams. Yeah, so it would be a lot harder to do it on there than it would be to do it on this. So I said, why not try Season 0 Resurgence? The goal would be when Verdansk launches Season 1, we'd probably do it on Big Map. Now, given the amount of people that reached out and how fast, so you know what, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that, right? Like the amount of support that this has received and the amount of attention, I didn't expect it. I expected people to want to play. Now, did I expect there to be this amount of people were bro, in a minute and 23 seconds, like it to fill up, that's insane, right? In 3 minutes total, 72 teams sign up. That's pretty insane. So like, I'm hoping that when Verdansk comes out and we decide to do this again, season 1, we can do it on Big Map. Imagine on Verdansk. That might just be cinema.
It's gonna be wild.
That might just be cinema.
Verdansk and another Big Map as well. Like, I would, dude, if we could get Big Map rotations as well, like I would be pig and shit happy. Like that's all I want is just Big Map. Like, dude, imagine we get Al Mazrah somehow in there. Like, oh my god, Verdansk, Al Mazrah. I'll even let Urzikstan get thrown in there just for it's like
chill, relax.
Listen, whatever.
Relax.
I'm just saying, like it'd be dope to have that ability and then being able to really test it out with just like something like this where we're just basically slamming formats and lobbies constantly.
Yeah, dude. So look, man, the possibilities are endless. We know as of right now we have 2 main events. We have EWC, we have World Series Warzone, and the goal here is to give something to fill in between that, or even to prep for that, right? It can be used as either or, right? So without further ado, let's kind of go over the formats. JD, if you want to go ahead and bring that up. First and foremost, guys, let's go over how this is all going to work out. And we have a lovely graphic made by my man's JD. So let's start with open qualifiers. So don't get confused here. I hope this is not going to get confusing. But this was the original plan for this, and I want to be very transparent here, right? The original plan was to make this for World Series of Warzone competitors and then obviously make it a way for the open play for people. Anybody can play and join, but there was going to be very limited spots for open qualifier players, right? There was going to be, I believe it was 12 spots for open qualifier players. 30 spots were given to World Series of Warzone competitors, and 12 spots were going to be, here's the sign up sheet, first come first serve. But we decided, how can we do this while giving them more spots, right? How can we, like, we played with a couple different things and we moved things around. And so it turned into 12 to 23 spots, right? 23, 24, I believe. 23. So the way this is going to work is we put out a sheet today actually on people signing up for the open qualifiers. Originally, we gave the World Series of Warzone teams spots, and all 30 of those filled out. And what's crazy is there was some teams that didn't even get to sign up. To be fair, I told them, I said, yo, only 30 spots available. If you don't sign up on time, you're going to have to go through the open quals. And so all those 30 spots got filled by the World Series of Warzone competitors. Now we have 23 spots for everybody else, right? So how is this going to work? Because there's a little bit of confusion here, which it's fine. This is why I'm here to explain it. We ran into an issue when coming up with this, adding more spots. The goal was, how do we make it to where people that have never played a tournament before can actually play and feel like they have a chance, right? Without having to play against, let's say, I wouldn't say World Series Warzone competitor, but let's say somebody who was right on the cusp. Like, give me an example of anybody that was right there, boys. Who can I say?
I would say like Sneely, Juice Season, like those guys, like they're very good players that have a chance to be at the best. Like they could be in a top lobby and they're good.
Yeah. So sorry, when I say World Series Warzone, I mean World Series Warzone and EWC. So just so you guys know, right? So whenever I say things like that, I'm like, okay. Yeah. Oh, Smixy, right? Yeah. The goal here was, how can we make it to where, for example, Sneely doesn't get into the open quals, Juice doesn't get into the open quals, and just absolutely destroys everybody in the open quals, and then there's nobody that's actually open quals in the actual tournament. So this is what we did. When we made the signups, and we had 30 spots. So there's going to be 3 separate qualifiers, 14, 14, 14. Right? We had 10 on each of those was given to World Series of Warzone teams. That leaves 4 in each spot, correct? Now, what we did was we added 3 in each qual, which is 9, given to teams like Sneely, like Juice, like Robeezy, players like that, right? Who I wouldn't say are considered open, right? I wouldn't say, but I consider them still, like, if they go through open quals, they're going to destroy everybody. That's what I would think, right? So we gave them 3 spots in each qual, right? From there, we have 3 more spots left, right? 1 in each qual. What we did then was we grabbed, this is now true open quals. Now from here, 14 teams, will battle it out in a true open qual system this Sunday on the 16th, which again, if you guys signed up, we'll be reaching out. And the top 3 from open quals will then be put as the final teams in A, B, and C. Does that make sense? I'm sorry if I confuse people. I'm not trying to. Boys, questions, go ahead. I can try to clear some stuff up here. Look, it's the best way to describe it. I'll make it easy. There's three quals, 14 spots each qual, right?
Yeah.
10 spots in each qual, World Series of Warzone competitors. 3 spots in each qual. I don't even want to call it amateurs. I don't want to say that, but like not World Series and Warzone EWC competitors, but somewhere on the cusp.
Tier
and then
2.
Tier 2, right? And then 1 challengers open squad per qual. Does that make it easier?
Yeah. Basically, the goal was to make it so that we weren't just throwing newly formed teams or players that haven't, that aren't technically considered the best of the best to have an opportunity to qualify and also kind of get their foot in the game, get some skin in the game. They're not just getting thrown directly into playing against Biffle and Shifty. They're playing against other teams who are also trying to qualify so that they can get to that next step and play against some of the best. So I think it would just be too messy for new teams to just get thrown into the best of the best. It would just be insane off the rip. So
yeah, the goal was
people,
to just...
by the way, sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Just seeing people in chat saying oh, they felt like this was just going to be new folks potentially coming into a challengers type situation. You got to understand that this is I can't. Are we allowed to say division if it's going to be a ladder?
Yeah.
No, we're not saying league, right? Division 1. This is going to be like Division 1, right? So we got to figure this out from what we've got before we then, like let's say down the future, you do have more opportunities to spread it wider and stuff like that. So people saying like, oh, we thought it was just going to be a case of like just the challenger folks coming in, just the tier 2, tier 3, whatever we're calling them folks coming in. Intermediate was one other thing that came in there. Is like, with some of those getting a chance now, hopefully they can pull off something through these quals and show exactly what it's all about. But there will be, like, you got to remember, we got to, like, the whole process here of this season 0 is to figure out what we're doing for the future as much as putting on something great now. So it's, if like, Hector, you said it earlier, if we suddenly turn around and went, yeah, we're going to just sign up 400 teams, like, considering the stuff that we're already endlessly discussing, like I can't imagine the amount of group chats that are ongoing, but our one group chat has got messages streaming all day about different things that we're trying to do and sort. And it's like the amount of them that's already happening just for this, like everyone relax, you will get your opportunities down the line. It's coming, don't worry.
I mean, here's the thing, man. I'm not going to sugarcoat this. Like, I've always said this. Like, there was a big discussion on like on the TL about this like 2 weeks ago. I want to see the best teams compete, right? And people say, "Oh, like like the scene's gatekept." No, it's not. Like, if you are good enough, you will rise. Like, bro, I have no doubt in my mind. Even if you are as good as Shifty or Soka, right? And you go through open quals and you're like, this is your first time competing, you go through open quals, you should smoke everybody. If you're that good, you should smoke everybody. You should get to the actual quals and you should smoke everybody. Like, if you're that good. The thing is, like, most people aren't, and that's okay, but that's what this is for, to give people the opportunity to get better, to learn how, oh, maybe I'm not as good yet, but I can be, right? My end goal, and let me say this to make sure that everybody knows. My end goal is to have 3 separate divisions. We have, I'm just gonna say this, we have 14 teams here for Division S tier. Let's just call it Champions League, right? Champions, whatever. Then, or Premier League, right? What are the 3 divisions, Enigma, in Mr. Football?
You got Premier League, Championship, and League 1.
So, yeah,
Those
that's the goal here, right?
Yeah.
And let's say the pros are Premier, then it's Champions, and then it's, would you say League 1?
League 1, yeah. It's weird, but that's, yeah.
So the goal would be to have 3 separate divisions in Warzone, and every season, if let's say there's 14 teams, you would knock off the bottom 4. The bottom 4 from the top league go down to Division Champions, then Champions bottom 4 go down to League 1, and then from there, the top 4 from League 1 move up. The top 4 from Champions move up to Premier, etc. And then from there, the bottom 4 from League 1 get eliminated completely. And there's a whole open system that they can then qualify for the 3 division league that they can climb up. So that is the goal, right? That is the end goal. This is a very summed up version of that, right? So again, season 0.
I feel like if you're anybody watching this, you should be feeling pretty ecstatic, considering right now your options are kind of limited, right? It's like how do you? It's like a question I was like talking with Enigma about, where like, if you aren't getting invited to tournaments, like what even is the process today, right? Of like, how do you get noticed? How do you get picked up on a team? And it's like, what has me most excited about something like this is like, it's one thing to be posting like $200 2v2 champs tweets every 3 days, right? But that doesn't mean you're good at customs and when it comes to the big tournaments, right? This is directly putting you in competition with good players in the format that we are going to see in some of the biggest events this year. It's like an actually true like test of skill of how you can fare in some of these lobbies, because I think we've all sat here and seen the people who on paper you think are really good, but when push comes to shove, when the pressure is on, they're not that great. And yet again, when they go back to pub stomping, they're godlike, right? They're super cool. So I think this is like really a good way to get like a true test of like, how do you fare in competition, but also like get those reps underneath your belt, understand what it means to like be in this type of game and have to go through some of these like, basically soft skills of Warzone that we talk about a lot, and really hone a lot of that in.
Yeah.
I mean, you are looking at like people who appreciate grassroots very much so. Understand that if you don't have a grassroots, you're cutting your scene off at the knees, and also understand that you know, this is how we get a change of the guard. This is how we get a Simp and an Ebatez rise on through and suddenly take over the Claysters, etc., etc. That's how we do this. We have a scene where people have an opportunity to perform and to grow. And, you know, I think that it was a case of, you know, Dandro's right about the whole 2v2 $200 thing, but like, I think there's a sporadic effort around the scene to try and create something where, and now it feels like, well, what can we do that ties in with the main story, the main sphere of Warzone competitive? And this feels like that perfect mix. Yes, you still have those, you know, those smaller things ongoing, which certainly have their value, but there was a monumental difference between this World Series Esports World Cup. How do we bridge that gap? Well, you know, let's not waiting on anyone else and getting it done ourselves is a fantastic way of going and doing that. So, yeah, I mean, anyone right now who's sitting there in chat thinking, you know, how do I come and play in this? You know, is there a reason for me to play competitive Warzone? Well, now 100% there is. So
yeah,
like it's crazy. Nikola Jokic, by the way, Jokic, whatever, however I'm saying that name, please just stop. You're hurting me. By the way.
Oh man, he's funny, Mr. Nikola. Yeah, dude. I mean, look, like again, I'm going to continue to say this is season 0, guys. There will be hiccups. There will be things that I personally don't like. I mean, the only way to learn is by doing, right? So we're gonna do it. We're gonna take all the learnings from this season and then do it. Season 1 should be better, and et cetera, et cetera. And they're only gonna get better, right? Remember, this is right now. My goal is, bro, I hope that one day we get sponsors involved and big sponsors to where it's like, yo, we're doing this for 100K every season, 200K every season, and just make it huge, right? Like that. Like those are the possibilities that I think this can actually happen one day. I really do, but it has to start somewhere. 1, the game has to be good, obviously, but 2, we have to establish ourselves to where we have a good foundation to where if a company wants to come in and do something like that, they're like, all right, well, let me see your proof of concept. Let me see what you've done. What are your numbers, et cetera, and then that's how things like this start, right? That's how things like this start. So right now, but the very beginning, and I'm really fucking excited, man. So that's going back to, sorry, go ahead.
Well, on that, what I will say is while there is this collective effort to make this happen, and obviously everyone behind the scenes will be doing as much as humanly possible to make everything work as smoothly as possible. Like I know that one of my plans, for example, is to make a ton of content around the ladder and stuff like that. Like there is a responsibility as well on the players and stuff who want to be a part of this. Like you gotta, you know, give feedback, for example, give feedback in a constructive manner that is designed to help grow the space, you know, be a part of the growth of everything, the evolution of everything. And as a group, everyone in this chat right now, like you guys here on Pullze Check, you've got the best community that we have in Warzone because everyone here cares so much about competitive. This community right here will be a fundamental part of making sure that it goes where it needs to go. Make sure you are actively a part of it. There will be plenty of opportunities, I imagine, to turn around and be like, okay, well, this needs tweaking, that needs tweaking. Do it in the correct way, of course. But if we are going to reach the end goals that Hector's talking about there, sponsors and stuff like that could 100% be a very realistic conversation. Then you guys, like, let's make it happen. Let's do it all together.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm excited for it. And see people in the chat going off is exactly what we want to see.
Yeah. Like that. I am always open to feedback, always, bro. I think it's just like all you got to do is just do it in the right way, bro. Like I'm telling you right now, if you at me on Twitter, if you say in the chat and you're just being a dickhead, I'm gonna think you're just a kid or like you don't know what you're talking about. But if you like, hey Hector, I think this is some feedback. Let me know what you think, bro. I'll open it. I'll listen. All right, I like that or I don't like that because of this, and let's talk about it, right? Like this is the whole point of this is like, dude, let's do this shit together. Let's build this up from the bottom. Like, what do people actually want to see? What do people want to do? Right? Like, and again, finding that happy medium between it being super hyper competitive, but also where people want to actually watch, right? And you got to be careful with, you know, moving that slider too much to where does it become so hyper competitive that people no longer want to watch, right? And just finding that happy medium between the two, right? So that's the goal. All right. So moving on, JD, if you want to bring up the thing, guys, let's talk about qualifiers. We went over how that's going to work. Again, today, for anybody who signed up, anybody who's in the first 23 teams to sign up, be on the lookout in your DMs tonight. Sammy, she's feeling a little bit sick, but she's sleeping a little bit right now. But tonight, when she's feeling better, she's going to message all the teams who are a part of the open quals, and she'll let you know whether you are considered, are you going to be playing in the 16th or if you're going to be playing in the other quals, right? So she'll be messaging you very, very soon. So just stay on the lookout for that. We will also tweet out when we've messaged everybody. So if we've messaged everybody and you're not part of that team, I'm sorry you didn't get in this time. But again, many opportunities to come and more opportunities sooner than you might think. So I'll throw that in there.
Nice little leak right there. I like that out of you. I'll throw that
in there.
You know I love me a good leak. No Diddy.
Jesus Christ.
Let me resend Kendrick to you.
Oh, shoot. All right. So now, guys, from here, what else? Oh, somebody had a question which I really want to address. Is there was a little bit of a typo in when putting your roles in for the when signing up. There was, I believe it was IGL, Anchor, and Fragger. That is a typo. We're going to change that. That is not what it should be. It should be IGL, support, and then Fragger. Those are the 3 roles. But the reason why we put roles, guys, is because a lot of the competitors came up or gave me the feedback, and this is why we assigned everybody roles. They were like, "How can you judge us based if let's say we're an Anchor, we're an IGL, we're the ones staying back, we're not getting as many kills? How can you judge me compared to somebody like Shifty, who his job is to get kills, right? We can't be, our roles cannot be put in the same category." So we were like, okay, we took that feedback and now we're separating the 3 roles. So then in the actual, when going over the SR systems, you're going to see, all right, who's the number 1 Anchor? Who's the number 1 Fragger? Who's the number 1 support player? And then from there, you can then compare each other accordingly. As we get more data, as we get more analytics, that we can have a general overall leaderboard where, yeah, you're a Anchor or an IGL, but Anchors have a 0.2 multiplier or a 1.5 multiplier because their job is not to get kills. Their job is to stay alive. There's so many different formulas that we can use. Right now, we're going to keep it simple, right? Going on to as we go on. But again, I cannot, for example, I cannot judge Soka's job from Shifty's job. Soka's job is to stay alive, get them to end game, right? Shifty's job is to frag the fuck out, right? And so, and then somebody had also mentioned does that mean the Anchors aren't allowed to get kills? No, dude. No. Play how you normally play, man. Play how you normally play. But the whole point is, when it comes to the actual SR system, individual, we want to stack you guys and put you guys up against people that are playing the same role as you. Does that make sense? So that's why we did it.
3 players I like to compare is probably DJ Moss, Skullface, and Noobs. I feel like they're very, very similar in the way that they play. So the goal is to basically, like Hector was saying, is to kind of see how they compete against each other as their respective roles. They play a very similar pace. They play a very similar game. You know, their role on the team is very similar in many ways. So we like to just kind of see how they kind of line up with each other. And it doesn't need to be 1-to-1 exactly, but just to kind of give us an idea, and also just to kind of give you guys an idea.
Yeah. So that was the whole concept behind it, right? And why we did it. Real quick, Zert asked a good question. What time of the day? Guys, it's same time as every single tournament we've ever done. They will all be at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. These dates actually looked a little bit different, as you'll see. Even in the graphic that we announced, finals is different. We had to move things around because there's more tournaments than we thought this month. So we moved some things around, which is good. It's fine. But for qualifiers, let's go to qualifiers. Everything will be 2 p.m. CST, right? On group stages. Good thing to note, all of those are on the weekend. We took a lot of people's feedback and they were all saying, hey, what if I work? Can I still play? So we moved a lot of these to the weekend for more people to compete. And remember, these dates, you don't always have to play 28th, 1st, 2nd. You don't have to play all 3. You have to play only 2 of those days, which depends on what group you land in is when you play, right? So let's go back to qualifiers. I'm sorry. So boys, qualifiers will start this week. So this Sunday, the 16th, we'll have the open qualifiers. The top 3 teams from there will go into the main qualifiers, right? From there, they'll be divided into 3 three sets of 14 teams. Qualifier 1 is on the 20th, Qualifier 2 is on the 21st, and Qualifier 3 is on the 22nd. All those teams that are eligible for that, guys, we can do our best. If there's, let's say, one day that you guys cannot play, and like, hey, I can play the 21st, 22nd, we will try to accommodate that the best that we can. No promises, obviously, because there's, 42 teams that all might need different times and schedules. So we would do our best to accommodate as much as we can. But if you do qualify for the main qualifiers, just know, tell us what you want, what day you prefer, which Sammy will reach out to you guys and you guys will go for that. So that is next week. Start Sunday, February 20th, I believe the 20th is a Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So 20th is a Friday. Thursday, the 20th is a Thursday. 21st is a Friday, and the 22nd is a Saturday. Those are the qualifiers for next week. From there, after you qualify, right, you then are put into 3 groups. That is Groups A, Group B, and Group C. All right. From there, 14 teams are going to battle it out, right? 7, right? 20. A, Group B, 7. High, 7.
What?
Right?
What's the math we're trying to figure out?
7.
Each
Yes.
group is 7?
Sorry,
Yes.
7. Yeah.
Each
I'm high.
group
I'm
is 7
high.
because the full
Apologies.
lobby is 14. Yes.
Apologies. So from the qualifiers, the top 7 teams from each qualifier advance to group stages. So you have to qualify. Yes, chat. Diaz, Biffle, Soka, Sage, Donkey, they all have to qualify. There is a chance that they don't qual. Is that likely? No, but there is a chance. Everybody has to qual. So the top 7 teams from each qualifier. Qualifier 1, 7 move on. Qualifier 2, 7 move on. Qualifier 3, 7 move on. That then is turned into 21 teams total. From there, Group A there'll be Group A, Group B, Group C, all with 7 teams. From there, there's 3 weeks of group stages. Players will have to play in 2 games, 2 matches once a week, right? 2 matches a week. I'm sorry, my words are fucking. I haven't slept. Leave me alone. For example, February 28th, Group A versus Group B. March 1st, Group B versus Group C. March 2nd, Group C versus Group A. That is, as you can see, A plays twice, B plays twice, C plays twice, right? I think the matches are projected to last around 3 to 4 hours, et cetera, et cetera. Same thing, week 2, A versus B, B versus C, C versus A. Same thing for week 3. Dates, February 28th. These are all Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Week 2, 7th, 8th, 9th, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Week 3, 14th, 15th, 16th, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. All of this, from there, you will be given a individual SR system and a team SR system. The most important thing here is the team SR system. We'll give you guys more details on that. I want to do another pod on that specifically. But for example, just like if you get first, you're getting 100 points. If you get second, 80, third, 70, whatever. And it's just going to keep going like that, right? Those are just rough numbers. You'll see the actual numbers in about like a week when we start going over group stages and stuff. From there, you'll be put into an overall leaderboard where all 21 teams will be listed, and we're gonna have that in the app, in the website. Hopefully everything should look beautiful. And the top 14 teams after 3 weeks will then move on to finals, the kill point, which originally was supposed to be the 16th, but we got told there's a couple Activision stuff there and we don't want to interfere with any Activision stuff. So now finals is on the 18th of March. And that is a kill point tournament for $5,000, which we will obviously have a player of the season, MVP, etc. And everything, guys, the individual SR systems will all be objective. They will have stats. They will have numbers. The person that ends up number 1, there's a reason why they're number 1. It has nothing to do with anybody's opinion. This is all strictly on numbers and the formulas that we've concocted, you know? So there's a lot of...
we don't want to get cooked anymore. That's what that is. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, because people were definitely like, oh, like, you know, this is your guys' opinion. Well, stats don't lie. We're gonna have stats. We're gonna have everything. We're gonna have stats for you guys to follow, right? If you have the app Community, we're gonna have also a web browser for it. You guys can track everybody's individual systems, individual ranking, where they sit on the leaderboard, who's the best fragger, who's the best IGL, who's the best support player, and then go from there, right? So that's kind of the gist of it. These are the dates, as you see, depending on what group you play in. So Group A will always play Friday, Sunday. Group B will always play Friday, Saturday. Group C will always play Saturday, Sunday. So this is kind of this is a general rough draft of anything that, of everything that we're doing. Boys, fellas, talk to me. I know it's a lot to take in. I apologize. I don't feel like I'm the best at explaining, but what are we thinking, man?
Very important question asked in the chat. Are we gonna have casters?
Andrew, Enigma.
I mean,
Hey, that's on you. That's a you decision, brother.
that's a DM, my friend. Like that's a DM right there. Look, I mean, I've said this to you guys. I've said it privately, saying it publicly. Like, I was made redundant last year. I've got a lot of spare time on my hands to kind of figure out what I'm doing these days. And
Guy's broke.
yeah, I mean, yeah. Well, oh yeah, guys. Yeah, I'm super fucking broke. Yeah. I'm not like my kid's not getting clothed, but it's okay. I'm here on the Pullze Check podcast. It's all good. Don't worry about it. So yeah, no. I mean, look. I think it will become a DM, but obviously would absolutely love to be as much a part of helping this as anyone who's already been and will be a part of it going forward.
Yeah, dude, I would love to discuss, fellas, after how that would work. Because, like, again, man, I just want to watch some good ass COD and give people the ability to kind of like go from the bottom to the top, right? Like, I would love to see. Imagine one of the open qual teams make it to finals. That would make me so fucking happy. That is the goal, right? For players who don't have the opportunity to now get the opportunity to do this, right? So this is over the course of the next 3 weeks, fellas. 3.5 weeks, I guess. I guess you could say 4 weeks. And the rumor is Verdansk drops March 20th, right? That is when season 2 ends and season 3 starts. Yep. So this would be right before, and then we can take all this knowledge that we've learned over the last month and then implement it into season 1, season 2 of this, and move forward from there, man. So, dude, I'm really excited. I don't know. Talk to me, Dandro.
Yeah, I was gonna say, as much as so I'm excited for two reasons. One, what you just said about like be nuts if somebody from open makes it all the way through. But I'm also gonna touch on something on the flip side that is more like towards like the established competitors that we know and love from World Series of Warzone. Like, I know Enigma's been getting DMs. I've been getting DMs. There are orgs actively looking right now to sign trios, right? And they're asking for our opinion. I know, they're DMing a couple people, and it's nice for like, sure, like I have my completely biased opinion based on, the tournaments we get to watch and cast, but this type of stuff is really cool to be able to showcase sort of week over week, like, hey, here are these teams that are really competitive against the Falcons, against Virtus Pro. These are the people you want in a lobby when we get to things like the Esports World Cup that you want to have representing your org at the World Series of Warzone. Like, and this is just another way to really get your name out there. So while we've done a lot of talking of like, hey, if you're out there, Joe Schmo, maybe you can fight the Falcons, right? It's like, no, if you're one of these teams who's competing in the World Series of Warzone and EWC and is fighting these guys week after week in all these big tournaments, like, this is just another opportunity for you to show out and be able to get your name noticed and get picked up by one of these orgs who's trying to fight for something like the club championship at EWC and want somebody that's really competitive. Like, the DMs we get are literally, I want a team that will compete with the Falcons. Like, this is what we're getting DM'd. And so this is a great way to be able to show that and also objectively at the same time.
To add to that,
sorry, go ahead.
I won't say any names, but there was an org that was watching some of the Warzone Total Frenzy tournaments, and they word for word said, we do not want to sign that team because they have not been performing well in these WTF tourneys. So with a league like this, the best of the best, there are EWC orgs watching. There are a lot of opportunities. So again, this isn't just about the money. Obviously, $5,000 is a lot of money, but there's a lot of recognition, future opportunities, sponsorships, yada, yada, that kind of goes along with this. So it's kind of just what the competitors put in and what they want to get out. It's like you could make content off of this and grow your numbers, say, here's a clip of me shitting on whoever and whatever. But there's a lot of opportunity, man. And I'm super excited for the next month.
I'm going to be honest here, boys, and let me know if this is too far-fetched. I feel like it's not. I think if you come and you win, if you are like, I don't want to say a nobody, right? But if you are underrated and you come and you win this league, I feel like you are almost guaranteed an offer from an EWC org. I feel like if you beat the Falcons, I'm pretty confident based off what we know of and how like these orgs want to pick up people for EWC. I mean, bro, EWC is looking like insane amounts of millions, right?
Dude,
if you win this, there will be orgs looking like it's almost a guarantee from what I and that's not just because it's my thing. I'm being honest from people hitting up all of us. Hey, who do y'all think is good? Guys, you know how insane is it for an org to hit us up and they say which teams are good and us to be like, shit.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I got an email. I was a couple of beers deep in Madrid, and I was like, "Why are they asking for my opinion? Like, what the hell?" But it's one of those where like I was chatting back and forth with one of the people that was coming in, and they're from a well-established org, and it was a case of like they're saying like there are points on the table. Like last year, a lot of orgs weren't 100% sure about how the club championship worked. Now they understand, and they're like, we need points from all these different places. Right now, Warzone, we have some great orgs, but there's plenty of space for more. And this is an opportunity for them to steal away points for that club championship, which, as you've seen, what was it worth last year? 60 million or something like that? Like,
yeah,
they
something
are
crazy.
coming in ready to do war because they want those points. Like, we saw some teams last year finish like top 5 or whatever it was, weren't represented by an org. That is points left on the table. Like, those points go to pretty much nobody. So there's there are genuine people out there, and the things are coming forward with as well. Hey, we're willing to offer X amount. I'm like, Jesus Christ, you want to sign me? Like, what the like? Yeah, absolutely incredible what it is that they're putting forward. Life-changing opportunities.
We should know orgs pretty soon. Like, I think the orgs that are announced with Club Championship, obviously we're getting a little sidetracked, but with EWC and stuff, within it pretty soon. We'll know the orgs that are involved in that. So, which is exciting because Warzone. I think last year was probably the first glimpse we saw Warzone orgs involved, and also seeing it at World Series of Warzone was super exciting. So I'm excited for that to get involved, and also we're gonna show support to the org supporting Warzone in any way we can. So I'm excited for that.
Yeah, boys. I mean, I hope it wasn't too complicated. I think the goal was to like make it as simple as possible, right?
Yeah.
And I think I believe we did make it as simple as possible. I think the only confusing part is the qual system, but I think once it's like laid out for you in a picture, it's a little bit easier. One thing I did want to touch on is how the SR ranking is going to work. So when it comes to individuals, we wanted to keep it simple. Know that there is. Like Enigma is insane at making SR systems, ELO systems that we can use one day. I actually think we're going to use the crazy formulas that he has. But I think for now, season 0, we're probably going to do is run both in tandem. But the one that we're going to actually be using is a very simple formula. It's going to be per game, right? Kills for placement, all right? Like, it's very simple. Anybody can follow it. For individual SR, technically speaking, the individual system doesn't matter. What matters is the team systems, because that's how you get into the actual finals. But it's good to see where you stack up against your respective roles. So it'll be every game, let's say, because everybody's going to play 8 games. So 8 times 6, somebody do the math. I suck at math. Was that 45?
48.
8 times. Yeah, 48. Yeah.
48, something like that.
48.
Who fucking knows, chat?
It's 48. I just did it.
Yeah, we just said it 5 times.
48. Okay, 48. So it'll be kills times placement. So if you place, last, you get however many kills times 0, right? So if you get, let's say you get first and you get 10 kills, that's the multiplier is 10. That's 800 points or whatever that many points, right? That's the way the SR system is going to work. We'll give you a detailed breakdown of that, and it's going to be per game, not per tournament, per game, which means you have to be consistent. If you are consistent throughout the whole tournament, your SR system individually is going to skyrocket. If you have crazy pop-up games and then shit games, you're going to be like this. So I'm excited to see how it plays out, and then we're gonna because we're gonna have so much data, we can try different systems in the back end. I'm not gonna. JD's gonna make cool graphics and shit.
Yeah, there we go.
There
we go.
That's sick,
guys. So this is a general overview. JD leaked a little bit, which I like. General overview of how this is going to work and how obviously, I would hope that by maybe the summer we have actual this is not the real teams, by the way. Everybody has orgs. Imagine if we could put the team orgs in every single one of these. That'd be so awesome. And you could see, all right, this week this team climbed up 1 spot, this week this team climbed up 4, this team's down 1, their elo system's here, etc., etc., etc. So this is just a general overview to see, so you guys can see more or less how it all works. And
something I want to add to
do.
this is something we see in Apex too. If you're not signed to an org, a lot of teams have fun with it. Like I saw there was a team in Apex, they had 2 keyboard and mouse players and a controller player, so they called their team name 2 Rats, 1 Controller, and they had like this funny like logo. So if you're a team and you guys don't have an org, like have fun with this. Do like a logo or like something funny, like a meme, anything. Like literally like have fun with this, bro, because it'd be funny to like come up with your own team name. Like literally come up with your own team name or call it like something funny. Like I don't know. I want to see teams have fun with that if they don't have an org. And just kind of like, so we can at least call you guys a team rather than just saying like Team Destroy or Team Super Evan, you know, like I want to have like something funny. So
yeah.
Yeah,
So
definitely. This is
we'll love you forever.
Sorry, go on.
No, go.
I was going to say, we'll love you forever
Yeah.
if you have
This
fun
is
with
it.
it, because
Yeah,
we'll
that's
actually be
sick. That's
incentivized to want to talk about your squad because you have a funny name and you do somewhat okay. We're going to call you out versus like team these 3 people. You know, it's like that's not fun for us to do. It's not hype, but it's cool because then what happens is you got team 2 Rats, 1 Controller. They get signed to an org and we get to go, hey, remember when these guys were slamming as an unsigned org and they finally get picked up by this team? Like, those
you know
are
what's
fun.
funny? That team right there, 2 Rats, 1 Controller, they just won champs at Apex. 2 of them just won champs. And they were under an org. So they started off as 2 Rats, 1 Controller, got signed to an org, and then just won champs.
Yeah, I mean, so this is part of where it comes into again a little bit of like the community and like putting in just a little bit of effort. It's not difficult to really to come up with a team name. I mean, it can be like obviously nothing offensive or anything like that, but it can be something funny. It can be like whatever. And if you are struggling for a logo for whatever reason or any sort of branding, like come to someone and speak to someone and say, look, can you just sort me something like this? Like I used to do a lot of work with Shift on, oh God, what's it called? A program that we were on, and he would literally make them. They were relatively basic logos, but they were logos that looked a lot better than being on broadcast. Trying to say, all right, well, it's Team Ebatez against Team Ryder and Team Aiden against Team, and it's like, this looks like this will be so much more legit in terms of production value and again, help a lot more. By the way, I'm just going to say to Sins in chat, I am really sorry about the sniffling. If it's me, I do have a chest infection. But yeah, going back to, he was absolutely caps locks and everything. I was losing his shit. But yeah, I think that if there are things that players coming in are like, how do we improve the value that we bring to the whole thing, then it's a case of just send a DM and like, I know I could rustle together like a logo for someone or something like that. We could make it happen.
Yeah. It could be so funny. Like, you can do
DMs.
random shit.
I don't want 50 DMs of people saying, make me a fucking logo. Like, all right, I'm happy to help someone get a logo. All right.
Yo, JD said free logos for quad teams. You hear him, man. Yo,
I like that.
But yeah, dude, I mean, guys, the goal is like this. I want it to be super, super like thought out and really that anybody can keep track of this and actually see, like, bro, look all over TikTok. People are like, oh, this is the best player in the world. No, this is the best player. No, this. And it's like, bro, like, we got ways for you people to actually see who is the best now, right? Like, there's ways to do it. There's just only one, like 2-3 months out of the year that we can do it, and that's World Series Warzone. Why not have something throughout the course of, like, you know, the next the rest of the 9 months of the year, right? So I'm excited, man. The app, hopefully COD Community can get something going for y'all really soon. We're working with them. I also have another partner when it comes to leaderboards and stuff like that, which they're also cooking up cool stuff. I want you guys to just think about the possibilities here, where, you know, we can have overall rankings over the course of, you know, 7 seasons one day, right? Like, we can have how many golds does this guy's have, right? If you've won a Pullze Check League season, you get like think about golds like in regular, right? You get a gold or you get like a badge, and you collect 5 badges, and then I buy you a diapers. You know what I'm saying? I don't know.
Yo, what the hell?
You know what I'm saying? So
Do you know what's like sick in a different space that would be really cool? Like, if it's possible in the future, like, I don't want to be like giving you guys like loads of work. I love how on like CS, for example, they have like badges like next to player profiles or whatever to show like events that they've been in before.
Ooh, that's fire. That's fire. Like if they qualify for finals. Yeah, like a badge.
Like, you know, Like Biffle's Shifty and Soka's profile would just be full of like, you know, World Series,
W Glaze,
EWC,
W Glaze,
like,
W Glaze.
those kind of things.
That'd be so fire.
Well, I mean, give me a different team that wins something. Dude. I'd
No,
love
I'm
to see
playing,
Harry
I'm
say
playing,
something. I'd love to.
Yeah. So like, yeah, dude, even the tier list that we talk about, like there's so many different ways. Like I plan, JD and I are cooking when it comes to pregame, postgame shows. Like there's so many different things we can do now that like, if this league actually becomes a thing where people are playing it consistently and like, yo, it's like, yo, this is legit. Like, it's not like, oh, there's no opinions anymore. Like if Falcons have a bad day, their rank will drop. Right, like their score will go down. If they do good, they will go up. Like, and you know, and again, season 0, we might need to change things around as the seasons go on. We're gonna try it out. We're gonna keep it moving, man. But for now, I think this is a really good step in the right direction, and I'm so excited for the quals this Sunday and just the future. Shit, man, I'm excited. Isaac asked, you probably weren't here, Isaac, but Rebirth was only here. The reason why we did Rebirth was because we had to fill. 42 teams when there's 14 teams. So we had to fill times three of what a normal lobby would be. So if we were to do this in BR, it would have to be, 360 teams, which we didn't think was possible right now with the current state of
Let me
Warzone.
say
But
what Hector didn't want to say. Urzikstan is fucking miserable. We don't want to watch that dog shit map, and we want to play something that's actually enjoyable to watch.
no, I didn't say that. I actually enjoy Big Map.
You've been on one today.
I actually just didn't think we could fill up 360 teams to play in this transparently. Now, when Verdansk comes out,
Yeah, we better cook.
we can cook,
There we
right?
go.
But even then, I do think that this alternating maps is going to be so fucking fire. Like, so fucking fire.
Yeah.
So alternating maps, the rule set. JD, we'll get a graphic out of that so people know the format and all that stuff. Graphics for everything, actually. But like, I think that adds a cool element that we've never had before, a rotating maps. So, yep. All right, boys.
I mean, looking forward to all this. Going back to something that you guys mentioned just a minute ago as well about the content and stuff that's going to be made. Like, I know that, like, for example, looking to do play breakdowns, power rankings, stuff like that. Looking to do work on an ELO system, which we're still trying to figure out a lot of the kinks around it about whether or not we do that. But we also talked about, for example, the comparing of the roles, stuff like that, like in potential cards and things. So I think that there's a whole lot of things. But again, going back to like the community getting involved, if there are things that you feel like there's more that we could make pre and post, obviously you got to keep in mind the amount of lift that is required. Then float that. It's a show. It's a production. If you're like, okay, well, this is how we take it from this to, I don't know, like think red zone for the NFL. Like, how do we get from there to there? Bring it forward. And because, I mean, the best resource that we have in terms of growing this whole space is definitely in that chat. So.
Yeah, dude. I mean, Isaac said, dude, that comes back. Mini Royale would actually be fire. Like, I would like to try it.
God.
Like, you never Mini
that was
Royale
a thing.
Verdansk. I know. So, dude, that would be sick. Like, look, man, I'm open to anything. That's the good thing about this is it's moldable. We're not hard set on something, right? Like, I think EWC is going to be Resurgence. I think Verdansk or World Series Warzone is going to be Verdansk, obviously, right? So, I think we can mold it depending on the season. So, for example, if there's a month leading up until EWC, well, then we do the league for whatever EWC is, whatever their rule set is, right? Then for, the months after that, leading up until World Series Warzone, we have season 2 or 3, whatever, for big map. It's moldable, man. It's moldable. And I think the possibilities here are endless. And again, it's just the beginning. And we're just laying the foundation for hopefully many more seasons to come. And hopefully we can kick this off with a banger, man, and just go crazy. But yeah, man, boys, I think we went over everything we needed to discuss. And do you guys have any questions at all? Anything that you guys are like speculating or any other things?
I think we did a pretty good job covering everything, to be honest.
Yeah.
Nothing? Okay. All right, boys. Look, man, I cannot wait. Sunday is the start. And then, then we have all of next week, main calls, open calls Sunday, main calls, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So should be a fucking banger. Yes, Isaac, face cams are mandatory. Face cams, and you are subject to a monitor, or not monitor setup. What's it called? Setup cam whenever we deem necessary. Frosty, we said a little bit earlier in the thing, but you'll be reached out to tonight. if you do not get reached out to tonight, it means that you did not sign up in time. All right. But boys, appreciate you guys as always, man. Ebatez, Enigma, Dandro. Today was a fire podcast, man. And I'm telling you right now, I cannot fucking wait for the future. I hope that we look back at this 5 years from now and be like, bro, can you believe we started here? And hopefully this is something big, man. So I appreciate you guys being here, man. Isaac, would love you back on the pod, man. You let me know when, Isaac. You let me know when, man. I had to shout out my boy, you know. But Enigma, Dandro, Ebatez, appreciate y'all, boys. Any final thoughts?
Yes, sir.
Let's get it started, man. Excited. Let's make it happen.
All right, man. All right, guys. We'll catch you guys in the next podcast, man. And if you guys do want to tune in, if you're watching this on YouTube, Spotify, anything like that, you guys are interested in the league and you guys want to compete or want to watch this, it'll be on twitch.tv/Repullze. We'll be doing that Sunday, the 16th of February. So we'll start then. And then from there, we'll have all the dates posted on Pullze Check Twitter. Make sure to follow that to stay updated with everything, man. But without further ado, guys, we'll catch you guys in the next one, man. Appreciate y'all. Peace, 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 baby.